Leader, thank you very much. Undersheriff, if you're waiting for an invitation, my guess is that you'll never get it from the second floor to be heard.
I'm available now.
Leader, thank you for bringing that point about my time in law enforcement. Like Senator Gallivan, it was some of the best time that I ever spent professionally. I was a proud member of law enforcement, but I am equally as proud to be a member of this conference. Under your leadership, we continue to be a conference of principles. We continue to be a conference that does not make decisions based on how the political winds are blowing or how loud the advocates are out on the street. This conference has always stood at the side of the members of law enforcement because they deserve our unwavering support, and I'm glad that once again we are unapologetically out front on this particular issue. And let's remember that the men and women who wear the uniform, underneath that uniform, they are real people. They are people who care about their communities. They are people who have families. These men and women don't care about what your politics are. They don't care about the color of your skin. They don't care about what neighborhood you live in. What they care about is keeping communities safe. They care about being able to go home to their families after their tour of duty. Here's what's happening to millions of New Yorkers across this great state. Every night, they lay down, they fall asleep, and they have this terrible recurring nightmare. It's a nightmare where they are a victim of a crime, they have their car stolen, they're assaulted, they witnessed a violent crime, God forbid they were shot. They wake up the next day, they go on about their day, they take their children to school, they go to work, and then they very quickly realize that it wasn't a nightmare at all. It was in fact the new reality of New York. This reality has been brought to New Yorkers compliments of the spineless bureaucrats, the spineless Democrats that occupy this very building and occupy New York City Hall. Those same spineless bureaucrats continue to put criminals before members of law enforcement, and they continue to put criminals before law-abiding citizens. I see daily briefings with elaborate set pieces, the papier-mâché mountain that memorializes the infection rate. And the infection rate is, in fact, important. What I haven't seen is anyone memorializing the violent spike in crime. Now, this here is not a big budget, taxpayer-funded papier-mâché sculpture or an artist-commissioned poster, but it does in fact represent the curve of shootings that has exploded this year in the city of New York because of the reckless and irresponsible actions of the Democrat-led one-party rule. These spineless bureaucrats have walked away from law-abiding citizens of this state, and they've walked away from the men and women who put their health, their safety, and their lives on the line every single day for the very same people in their communities. These are the people who go into darkness and confront evil on our behalf when those very same bureaucrats sleep peacefully at night, and then they turn their back on law enforcement when they wake up during the day. Anyone surprised at the staggering spike in violent crime? Is anyone surprised by the staggering spike in assaults on members of law enforcement? This kind of lawlessness that we're seeing across this state, in every corner of this great state, it's what happens when you have failed leadership. And I'm going to say this unabashedly. The blood that's been spilled on the streets of New York, that is on the hands of the failed leadership of one-party rule in this state. So every day we watch as more New Yorkers needlessly lose their lives, and hardworking police officers are vilified and they're abandoned by our leaders and physically attacked by criminals out on the street with no consequence. But today, Leader, I want cops, the thousands of men and women who put the uniform on every single day across this great state, to know despite what's happening in City Hall, despite what is happening in this State House, there are in fact people who care about you. And those people are right here in the Republican conference of the New York State Senate. So unless one-party rule wakes up from this nightmare that they themselves have created, the voters will surely deliver a message, a wake-up call, that one-party rule deserves on Election Day. My position, not only today but every day, is that I unapologetically and unabashedly support the men and women of law enforcement. And the only thing we should defund in this state, Leader, we should defund one-party rule. Thank you.